So, good morning, everyone. My name is Alia Tayyabi, and I have my colleagues Uruj and Hurmat joining in from another account. And the three of us comprise of the Citizens Archive of Pakistan's Book Club Across Borders team. And first and foremost, we welcome you on board on the project. We are really excited to have all of you here and read some wonderful books in the course of the project and create some friendships that last us a lifetime. So without further ado, I'd like to start by the book. So did all of you get to read the book?
Yes. All the students read the book.
Wonderful. And what did you think about the book? Did you like the book? What did you think of the character of Iqbal? And while you were reading the book, was there a part of you that was expecting a different ending to the ending that came across to you? And what did you feel about the concept of child labor? Because in both of our countries, in Pakistan and Afghanistan, we do see a lot of child labor. We see a lot of underage children working in different areas around us. And those children should be in school. So how did you feel about that? And if somebody could maybe start the conversation and then we can take it from there.
Okay. First of all, welcome to all students. Thanks from all students that attend the conference. First of all, we'll start with the reciting of Holy Quran, and Mr. Sayyidullah will come and recite the Holy Quran. Mr. Sayyidullah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you so much from Mr. Sayyidullah. Now I will play the national anthem of Afghanistan and hope to stand for the respect of a historical anthem of Afghanistan. Thank you so much. I will come to the next tip. That today is very sad day in Afghanistan because last day there were attack in Kabul University for to pray for those martyrs. I invite again Mr. Saidullah to come and pray for the martyrs of yesterday attack on Kabul University. Mr. Saidullah.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم عافني في بدني، اللهم عافني في سمعي، اللهم عافني في بصري، لا إله إلا أنت. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من عذاب جهنم، وأعوذ بك من فتنة المسيح الدجال، وأعوذ بك من عذاب القبر، لا إله إلا أنت. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من عذاب جهنم، اللهم إني أعوذ بك من عذاب جهنم. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار.
Thank you, Mr. Saidullah. We will never stop our education system, and we will go ahead in struggle with these problems. For a great Afghanistan, we will study, we will go to school, we will go to universities, and make Afghanistan great again. Thank you so much. Now, Mr. Ilyas will come to the stage and share their information about the book and all the speech that we have in mind, and speak about Afghanistan education system.
Wonderful.
In the name of my most gracious God, who is most merciful and most gracious, who is King of all kings, who knows by the secret of our hearts, who has power to create as a Muslim and Muslim community. I want to deliver the sweetest word of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
By permission of you, my classmates, and those who are in Khairpur school,
Khairpur.
and those who are present, so I don't want to talk anymore. I'd like to come to my issue. First of all, the book was so interesting when I studied it, and I enjoyed from that about that novel. So that novel, generally, I'd like to talk about that book. That book is written about that Iqbal Masih, the life of Iqbal Masih. It has approximately 15 contents from first to 15. And as well, it's based on the life of Iqbal Masih. So generally, this book talk about that how can we promote our education, and as well how can we encourage our students to improve our country, as well Pakistan country, our neighbors country. So it means that we will never stop our learning. And as well, message to those friends that who do not have encouraged from their home, and as well who lose their parents, and who lose their relatives, and who don't pay attention to their own goals. So message for those that please come and bring peace to our country. So first of all, the first story which I took from that book about friendship, and the second story which talk about from Karim. So when Karim took money from his father, when Karim took money from his father, he used that money by bad way, because he went to the cinema and he did wrong things on that money. When he came back from the cinema, he told the whole story to Masih, and Masih was too poor and he did not have any way to tell something to his father, take money or do something. So it means from that story, which gives us that if your partner is poor, do not tell the whole story if you do something in your life, because he obligates that issue that he will murder someone, he will keep someone, or he will do something else and find money from that way. So this message for friends, that if you are rich or your partner or your friends are poor, so please do not tell the whole story to him and don't do the bad things. So when Karim back from the cinema, he tell the whole story of film to Masih. So please do not do that action. So message for those who are rich students, that do not do that action. The second story which I catch from that book and I learned too many things. About that the carpet factory, which too many children worked on that factory, and as well they are obliged come to that factory. When new one come to that factory, so Iqbal Masih was the best one, and he shared his information with him that please don't lose your patient, and as well sit here, and he gives him some information about that when he was unhappy from night side, so he tell him that please do not unhappy, and he tell him that come to my side, and he help him. So Iqbal Masih was the best one in that book, which is that book is written about Iqbal Masih. And the third story, which is the best story in that book, about conference in all over the world, conferences in all over the world about the labor in all over the world in a year. So they made a conference that how can we finish small children from labor to don't work, study hard, and don't pay attention to that things. About that conference, Iqbal Masih was the best one who went to Europe countries, and as well he seeks some information from that issue, and as well he talk when he come back from the Europe countries. So his relatives and as well his neighbors come to his side, may bring a present for him, and as well do something for him. And as well he was the best one in that book. So when Iqbal come from the Europe countries, he tells the whole story to his partners that please get knowledge, don't do something else, and as well. So my message, and I have learned too many things. Approximately, I studied this book from a month. So I learned too many things. So my message for those that please do not send your children and to your bad places. Please tell them that get education. The only way which we can improve development is that we can improve by education. We can improve by that way. So this is the only way that we can improve. So that's so as well. This is as well the big thing that today in our country, our flag is half, and we have Flag Day, and this is proud for us that we come and we do not lose our temper. This is the proud place for me, for my classmates that who are joined with me in this conference. Flag Day in Kabul, Flag Day in Afghanistan, but we will never stop our education. We will never stop our education. We will improve. If I have a little bit blood in my body, I will never stop. Believe me that I will improve my country, inshallah. And one from you that pray for those that who are injured in Kabul University, and as well pray for them that who are died. And one from you that help us, and one from you that make conferences like this. We can improve. We will see. You will see too many things. We will learn too many things from your group. You will learn too many things from our group. So finally, thank you so much. Thank you so much from your team, and thank you so much from our boss to make this conferences like for us. So one from you in the future to make a conferences for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Mr.
Kunal. That was really lovely to hear. Now let's move to Khairpur. So Khairpur, would somebody like to tell us about the book that they read, what they thought about the book, and what they think was the main story of the book? What were the issues that the book was tackling?
Hello, Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Let me introduce myself. It's me, Ramzan, Baikas Kurai, at Khairpur city in Pakistan. I will tell you about in Fatma's friends of Iqbal narrating a story. He described the experience in past years, working Hussein Khan in carpet making factory. He told that how work in a factory, and if they mistake in carpet, the Hussein Khan shaped and abused them. After that, in Pakistan, many people can work around in many factories. In chapter 2, in second chapter, Iqbal appreciated a morning during the Atmas said about the master television. Suddenly, she noticed she had 3 years of being there. In third chapter, we learned about the when we forgiven. Fatima described how curiously are with the same show. So fearless, newcomer Iqbal, the new kids described his past. He was very expert in work like this Fatima. Seemed quite hopeless. Yet made so much progress in the little time. She described how their masters beat and abused them if they made a mistake in carpet patterns, or how some children were chained their looms. The children often told each other about dreams day and night because they reached a point where they were growing in certain years. They were impeded broken, even so they made up stories of the lives they wished to. That yes, they were impeded broken even, so they made up stories of them. They wished to. They are 3 years dreaming of coming back. Their master Hussain Khan said that above their looms were to show their deeds. Those dates were their decades of freedom, although Fatima has never seen a single date was empty. In chapter Fatima, friend I require in the story. Thanks.
Hello. Assalamualaikum from Khairpur, Pakistan. Actually, these were the students from Indian schools of knowledge. So they just shared their experience about the book. So over to Kunar.
Okay, now can we move to the girls' school in Khairpur? Unfortunately, there are some technical audio issues with Khairpur Boys' School, and this is our first connection, so we will be able to overcome it. Just for future, I would recommend using one connection for one room and just make sure that we're connected via one device, because that way there will be no echo and we'll be able to hear clearly. I would also advise not to use an external mic and rather use the inbuilt device mic from the system that you're logged in from. That also affects the quality of sound that is transmitted and is actually a better one. So whoever is speaking could come closer to the device and speak softly and clearly so that the other participants can hear them. I hope that is a better option. And now we can move to the girls' school in Khairpur and let's get them on board and listen to what they have to say. Hello? Khairpur, can you hear us? Okay, so shall we move back to Kunar while you people figure out your audio output, and somebody from my team will get in touch with you to assist you in your audio.
Hello, Alia. Could we get the students from Asadabad on board and see what they have to say?
Sure. So we're taking our conversation to Asadabad, and the students over there would like to comment on the book.
Hello, Ms. Alia. Thank you so much for arranging this session. Yes, our participants wanted to share some questions or discussions about the book.
This one, sorry, Asadabad, I would recommend you not to use an external mic because that makes an echo and the sound is very muffled. So if you could just use the mic that is, your voice is coming perfectly. So whoever is supposed to talk, if they could just come forward and talk, I think that would be brilliant.
Yes, please come here, madam. In the name of Allah, hello ma'am, nice to meet you. I'm glad to meet you with you. Thank you so much for your nice program and discussing about labor child. I have learned a lot of things in this book about child labor. I have learned something. The master were so angry on his labors, and they made a slave. And also, Karim was so afraid from his master Hussein Khan, and they could not to choose a correct ways in life, but coming Iqbal, everything has changed. Anything else you want to share?
Asadabad, I'm sorry, but I think we've lost your voice.
Hi, ma'am. Did you get her points?
Yes, we got
Yes.
the points until there was a loss of connection.
Yes.
So the last thing that we understood was the talk of child labor. And if you could maybe continue on that, that would be lovely.
Do you have anything else? Yes. Anyone else want to share something? Asya, please come here. In the name of Allah, my name is Asya. And in Pakistan, more than sons like children live like slaves, forced to work in the fields. Child labor in Pakistan not, but everywhere country existing. Child labor present now, every country. What did you read from the book? Child labor is a dark aspect of our country. Be the age of education, it is not the age of work. Do you have anything else? Okay, no. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So Asadabad, I have a question for you. All of you read the book. In the book, there were multiple passages in which they talk about putting the children in a dungeon kind of a space to discipline them, which is like the harshest form of trauma to induce to a child, where they are forced to be in a very confined space with no light, no food, and no water, and lots of insects and other, wild animals to kind of hurt and damage them. And Hussein is shown to have repeatedly been doing this. I remember when I was reading these passages, it was something that really hurt me. And I mean, not just the thought that the children were kept in such terrible conditions on a normal day, but then to further discipline them and to further control them, they were put in these inhuman conditions to force on them the idea of literally slavery, because these kids are slaves to their masters. So like in this book, Hussein Khan is their slave master, and these little children who have been picked up from their houses under dire circumstances, have been sold into slavery, are continuously being exposed to circumstances and conditions which no child should be exposed to. So amongst all the characters that you read, which was the one character that you connected with the most? Was there a character that you connected with, that you felt was your story being carried forward?
Yes, please come. And yes, the most important character we have faced Karim Khan and Hussein Khan, and another one Iqbal, Fatima. Yes, her sister. Her sister Fatima. Oh, yes.
What did you feel about the character of Maria? I mean, that little girl who was picked up from her house. Her father was a school teacher and she had clamped up. This frail little child who refused to talk. And later on, we found out that she could actually read and she could write because her father had taught her that. I mean, for me, that was such a warm introduction to the deeper layers of her character, which I hadn't seen coming. So for me personally, the character of Maria was a really interesting introduction into the scope of larger characters that were built into the narrative. Did you feel something interesting like that, or did you just take each character as they were coming?
Okay. Maria characters was Maria encouragement them to choose correct way for her for own work and convenient life.
All right, thank you so much for that insight. Now let's move to Khairpur Girls School and get them on board and get a little feedback on the book from them. So Khairpur Girls School, shall we start with you? Anybody from your school who would like to talk about the book? Khairpur Girls School, can we have you on board?
Hello, Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Alaikum Assalam. How are you, ma'am?
I'm very well. Can I know your name and what are you going to talk to us about?
I'm Risma from class Metric.
Lovely to have you here with us. And now, would you like to tell us about the book? What do you think the book was all about? Could you give us maybe a small summary of what you read?
Ma'am, child labor.
Yes, the book talks about child labor. Okay, so can you tell me where were all the children working? What were they doing, the children?
The work this children like the factory work child labor in carpenter factory.
Yes, they were all making carpets. And they used to work from morning till late in the night with very little money being given to them and very little food being given to them. And they were all sharing a small space with lots of other children. And they were being forced to work against their will in this little house where they were making carpets, which were being sold in the market for a lot of money. And then what happened? What did the children do? Did they continue making the carpets or did they go against the system and try and find their freedom?
They are workers, they are our model workers, beggar and hotel works, beggary. Remember.
We have child labor in multiple forms.
There are two kinds of child labor. Number one, physical. Number two, mental.
That's true. Anything else that you'd like to tell us?
There are cases of child labor, poverty and uneducation, and etc. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yes, that's very true. One of the biggest problems that we have is child labor, and that is because of poverty. Because there are a lot of poor children, poor people in the city, in the country, and they sell their children to work in these kind of spaces because they just have no money to feed their kids. That's true. Thank you so much for your input. And now, shall we move to Kunar? And if somebody from there would like to comment further on the book, on what they feel about child labor, on what they thought about the book.
Okay, now I will invite you, Mr. Naveed, come and present his issue about the book.
Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Today I want to talk about the information of book, general information about. Today the information is that about the group of children who are forced by to engage in self labor, weaving the carpet in Lahore, Pakistan. The novels tell the story of how a new child named Iqbal arrives and convinces the other children that they must be responsible for their own remains self forever. Now, I want to talk about the narrative of this book. The narrative of this so far is Fatima. Fatima's story narrative believe in Iqbal in his premise to get them out of the carpet factory. Even even if their Davis are never paid off. Now the another one is what is Iqbal dreams. At the time of his death, he was enrolled in school. He was enrolled to school in for pre-intended children, where he has a bright and integrated student. He dreamed for the future. He dreamed for the future was to become a liar in the future. That way, he responded that he could continue to fight for freedom on behalf of Pakistan. So, even in he have million illegally installed children. And now the
Message word.
and now my message is that we will never stop the learning. We will go to school every day. You know, this is my education. For education to get good education and to become a good personality in the future. And we want to from you to thank from this preparing this nice conference here, and I'm very happy to prepare this very nice conference here. And thanks from all from thanks from your attention.
You're welcome. So I have a question for all of you, right? So just to summarize the book is written in first-hand narrative, that's true. The story is being told by this girl, Fatima, who works in a factory where they are weaving carpets. And the very sad thing about the story is that the children are being forced to work to make the carpets for a rich merchant. The story continues about how the children are kept, how scared they feel, how they have been, how they have been forced to leave their homes and come and live in this strange house where they are from morning till night just working. And then a new character is introduced in the book called Iqbal. Iqbal is against what is happening to all of them. He believes that they deserve to be free. They deserve to have an education and become better in their lives. And we see that he suffers a lot, but he never gives up on his dreams. And he continues to fight for what he believes in. And he comes across a person in his in his journey as it proceeds in the book, called Ehsan Khan, who is working for the eradication of child labor in Pakistan. And from there, the story changes. We see how Iqbal, even though he is a young boy, but he still believes in his values, in his morals, and he believes that all children must be free to make choices. They should be with their families, they should study, and they should improve on society. And Iqbal gets a scholarship into a very good school in Boston in the United States. He is appreciated, and he gives a speech in Sweden where he's talking to a whole platform of people for the eradication of child labor. And then he comes back to his village to visit his family, and unfortunately he is killed. And later on it is said that he most probably was killed by the child mafia. So the people who were against child labor, they were the ones who killed him, because he was raising voice against something that a lot of people were benefiting from. So it talks to us about the power of education. It talks to us about the power of informed decision making, and it empowers all of us into believing that we can be the change that we want to see around us. So if we want to see a better world, then we have to actively work towards creating that world. And that is one of the most important lessons to take home from this book. I was so glad to hear that everybody in Kunar constantly spoke about that, how what they learned most importantly from the book was that they will work harder. They will educate themselves. And especially, I mean, we all know that yesterday an unfortunate incident occurred in Kabul University where a lot of children were hurt, but that does not stop our quest for education. It continues. And we must be better than this. If we want to create a better world, then we have to understand the value that we as individuals bring to society and work towards that value. So after having said that, I want to understand everyone's opinion on how we can be the change that we want to bring to our countries, both Pakistan and Afghanistan, where we have a large population of child labor. We have a large number of children who are not enrolled in schools. How we can change this personally and collectively. So let's start with boys' school in Khairpur. Khairpur, if you have your board and if you unmute your mic and tell us what you think about this topic, then we will move to Asadabad, then we'll go to the girls' school in Khairpur, and then to Kunar finally. Okay, so I am assuming that boys' school in Kunar, in Khairpur is still having some technical issues, so we'll move to the girls' school and get their opinion. So Khairpur Girls' School, do you have something to say? If you could please unmute.
Here's Yasin Khan. I belong to Khairpur city, in Pakistan. In this story, and I studied in second story. In this learned story, Iqbal appeared one morning during the summer. Then Fatima started talk about this master television. Suddenly she noticed she had to go back to go back to work because Hussein Khan should not let their minds wander. Then she noticed the lights them in the Hussein Khan room and then she heard the door. She saw her master holding Iqbal by his hand. She saw that idea out her hand. Then and he could make carpet faster than she could hear.
Thank you so much for reading out that piece for us. Now, can you tell us what do you think about the book? What is your opinion on the book and what did you learn from it?
I studied in this book, Iqbal Masih and labor of child labors in this book. And
he just want to share तमाम बुधायो तो तमाम ने बुक में स्टार्ट किया हुआ तमाम जो लर्निंग स्टार्ट okay he's sharing now please
yes. I this learning in book Iqbal Masih and child labors and thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so now let's move to Khairpur Girls School and get their opinion on the book. Oh, we have another gentleman from Khairpur Boys School who wants to say something. Hello. Sorry, 1 second, we can't hear you. You need to unmute.
Unmute.
Yes, please continue.
Yes, madam, according to my opinions, I want to share about these books and I want to learn this story is that how can people work in a factory child laborhood? We can learn that the child in Pakistan, there are many periods in this system. How can people work in factory, child laborhood, and its hands are very excited and looms. In second chapter, Fatma's in books, Fatma's narrating his story that Hussein Khan making a carpet factory and they can do work in factory and hands are very bad after that. At looms, they notice the light can be no notified their looms. We learned about this chapter. Thanks, madam.
Thank you so much for that input. Then now we're going to move to Khairpur Girls School. And I think there is somebody really impatiently waiting for us. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, so we're going to make it quick. So Khairpur Girls School, if you could tell us. I'm sorry, you'll have to unmute your mic and then start the conversation. Could you unmute your mic, please? Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, ma'am. My name is Sarah. I study in class metric. I discuss you this novel, Iqbal Masih. Central idea of this novel, Trevor Light, child labor. The causes of child labor, poverty, unliteracy, and lack for education, etc. The two kinds of child labors, Physicals and mentals. Physical is sugar mill work, heavy load lifted, and car wash, hotel works, and mental is education pressure and harassment. This book is written by Francisco D. Admo, and this is story is some factions and unfactions.
Is that all? Or would you like to say something else?
Causes of this child labor, poverty and uneducation and lack of education, unflections,
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I'm hoping that next month when we meet, you'll be more comfortable in talking maybe a little more. You know, so slowly and gradually we will build our friendship so that you can converse with us more comfortably. Thank you so much. You guys have been amazing. Now moving to Kunar. Before we say our goodbyes, Kunar, would somebody like to quickly come and give us their opinions on what is the main issue that the book is addressing?
How about the technical system? It was good or better for the next time? What is the suggestion, question, and rejection for us that we make it for the next time? The technical system, setting system, and many other things that from your side, any question, suggestion, or rejection?
I'm sorry, could you repeat yourself? I couldn't make out what you were saying.
Any suggestion about the program, any question, rejection that for setting students in technical system, do you have any question, suggestion, or rejection? How was our system, technical system?
Okay, so what might be on the technical aspect of your connection?
I said, how was the technical system? Mean that setting was great or bad? What we'll do for the next time? Our setting is good or not good? Your suggestion, question, or rejection about our system?
All right. All right. So thank you so much, Kunar. I think the way you have spread everybody out, it seems pretty reasonable. I just hope that everybody can hear us clearly. I just have one recommendation for our next session, and that is currently I'm constantly hearing a buzzing sound in the background, and your voice is crackling. So maybe if we could work on the audio element of your connection, that would really work better. I was thinking that once this session is ended, we can get in touch with all four of our partners on board and discuss with them how to improve on our technical aspect so that next time when we connect, we have a more stable connection. So there are some echoes, there are some sound disruptions, and so we will, I'm hopeful that by the next time we connect, we will be in a better position to overcome these obstacles.
Okay, thank you.
Lovely. So thank you everyone for such a wonderful audience and such wonderful participants of the project. I know that some of you are not very comfortable with public speaking, but I'm playing with the assumption that all of you have read the book and have enjoyed the book. Might I suggest that for the next connection, when you are reading the book, maybe make small bullet points in a journal about what you like or dislike about the book. What are your opinions on what the writer is saying? What is the story saying to you personally as an individual? Please do not feel shy about your language skills. The idea of these workshops is to improve on your language skills, to make you more comfortable with voicing your opinions. Your opinions don't have to reflect everyone else's opinions. They are your opinions. So they can be as individualistic as possible. Don't worry about that. But I would definitely suggest keeping a journal and writing down all thoughts that come to your mind so you can benefit from this program more. Other than that, I have nothing else to say other than thank you so much for being a part of our project. We look forward to reading 11 more books with you. And I'm hopeful that each and every book that you read opens your eyes to things that have been always around you, but now you hopefully will look at it with a different perspective. Thank you so much.